Folks are filing in. The waiting room is closed. It's 2026. We are so excited for you to be here today. I am Vander Gack. I'm Northeast SARE's communications person, and this is the second of our large grant Q&A sessions. This is for research and education, research for novel approaches, farming community, and professional development programs. The session is going to be recorded, and the recording is going to be made available on our website. A quick rundown of what today is going to look like. We're going to start with a brief presentation about all four programs, and then we're going to move into a generalized Q&A, great opportunity to figure out which breakout room you want to attend. And then we will move into breakout sessions. You'll be able to use the breakout rooms menu at the bottom of your screen to move between different breakout rooms, and you can ask questions directly from the administrators who are going to be running that program. We have a very full agenda here today, so we can drop chats in the chat. You can raise your hand with questions, and I'm going to hand it over now to Caitlin Cerna.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I am Caitlin Cerna. I run the Research for Novel Approaches grant program and coordinate the large grant team here at Northeast SARE. I'm going to share my screen in just a second, but as I get that going, if we can maybe hop around the room to the SARE staff to introduce yourself and what programs that you run. And we will start with Heather.
Hi, folks. I'm Heather Omend. I'm the grant administrator for the Research and Education grant program, and I'm joining from Maine, and I will pass to Nevin.
Good morning. I'm Nevin Dawson. I'm located in Maryland, and I work directly with the professional development program, but today I'm filling in for Leon Scabongo for the Farming Communities program. Oh, and I'll also mention my colleague, Katie Campbell-Nelson, who will be here in just a few minutes. She is the coordinator for the professional development program, so she will be leading that breakout session. And I can pass it to perhaps Emma?
Emma is not with us today. We're
Oh, sorry.
That's right. A small crew here. Emma is our grant coordinator specialist and is often supporting some of the application process. You might see their name pop through. And then we've got Jane and Vander as well. But is everybody able to see the screen so far? I'm going to get started because this is about like 20-ish minutes, and I am going to go through this slideshow pretty quickly. As Vander mentioned, the presentation is being recorded and will be available afterwards, but just as like a broad statement, nothing in here is new information. Everything in here is in the call for proposal, is on our website. It's just presented to you a little, like visually, a little bit different. So, now that we're in 2026, it makes a lot more sense that we call this our 2026 CFP. And today's Q&A session will have three main components, which we already went over, brief overview. We'll have time for some general questions, and those are really to help you try to figure out which breakout room to go into. And then each breakout room will have a grant administrator where you can ask those program-specific questions, and you can hop into different rooms. So if you realize like, this program's not for me, you can hop into a different room. And yeah, just don't worry about missing any information. We will share all the slides and whatnot with you after this. So Northeast SARE stands for Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education. It's a regional program that funds innovative farmer-driven projects to advance sustainable agriculture in the Northeast. We support practical research, education, outreach initiatives that improve farm profitability, protect natural resources, and strengthen farm communities. And our region here spans from West Virginia to Maine, and that includes Washington, D.C. as well. And by law, Northeast SARE funding and the proposals that it awards, it must improve farming in at least one of the following ways. And these are our legislated priorities. So the first priority is that they maintain and enhance the quality and productivity of the soil. That's really trying to say, like, take care of the soil so it's healthy and productive. The second one, conserve soil, water, energy, natural resources, and fish and wildlife habitat, is really just emphasizing the importance of natural resources like water, energy, and habitats. Number 3, maintain and enhance the quality of surface and groundwater, or protect water, both, the surface and underground. The fourth priority is to protect the health and safety of persons involved in the food and farm system. And this is to keep people who work in farming and food systems protected in health and safety. Number 5 is to promote the well-being of animals. And number 6 is to increase employment opportunities in agriculture to create more jobs in agriculture. And these legislative priorities you will see are in the call for proposal and really kind of like threaded throughout in the questions that we ask and the rubric, the scoring rubric that reviewers use. And then reviewers will also be looking for your connection to the outcome statement, and that is how your proposal is benefiting farmers in the Northeast. So again, the Northeast region is a 12-state region from West Virginia up to Maine, and that the work that we do in these projects that we fund are grounded in our outcome statement. It's sort of the North Star for all of our grant program design and something that's just threaded throughout all of the proposals. So we're going to do a brief overview of the 4 large grants. And as you kind of learn about these 4 grants, be thinking about which breakout room you might want to hop into so that you can ask some program-specific questions. But we're going to start first with the timeline. So there are 2 submission dates depending on the program that you are applying for. The Research and Education, PDP, and Novel Approach are all due Monday, February 2nd. And then the Farming Community Grant is due 3 weeks later on Monday, February 23rd. All of our programs and submissions have a 5 p.m. very strict 5 p.m. Eastern deadline. And all large grant decisions will be made at the same time, which is anticipated to be in May. I will say, like, one of the things I'm very happy and proud of working here at Northeast SARE, because I've been on the other side as grant writers, is that we're very communicative if things change or things become delayed. So you will be notified if like this timeline goes out the window for some reason. However, historically, we've been pretty tightly timed to it. So expect to hear from us sometime in May. And if anything changes, we will reach out. There are a few key changes in this year's call for proposal that we want to highlight, and these are listed on page 2 of everyone's CFP, but I'm going to summarize them here as well. We anticipated a shorter timeline, so we streamlined the proposal questions and the review process to make things as efficient as possible. So if you've applied for our large grants in the past, you may notice the major change that we eliminated the pre-proposal stage. Applicants are now submitting their full proposal concept as a single application, the one that is due in February. And to further simplify the process, you are not required to submit project team verification or IRB and IACUC, which is for research-specific projects. You're not required to support those official documentations at the time of the application. Instead, you're going to check a box confirming that you agree to those terms and requirements. And if your proposal is recommended for funding, we'll request that documentation later. And for PDP and R&E projects, we normally require a draft verification tool, such as a survey or spreadsheet, another tracking tool at this stage. Again, it's not required with the application this year, but prospective grantees will need to be able to provide one once awards are finalized. So in other words, these documents are normally uploaded to accompany your proposal. You will still need to have these things ready if the grant administrator requests it once you are considered for funding at a later point. But for right now, they are not required to be uploaded with your proposal. And then finally, the review process has changed quite a bit. So we're going to cover that now. I guess it's not the main thing. We made a lot of changes this year, a lot of big improvements in objectivity and transparency around the review process. So I'm going to just kind of like walk you through what that looks like a little bit. The first thing is that there is now a review rubric. which you will find linked in the Appendix D of each program's CFP. This is really your roadmap. It's going to show you exactly what reviewers are looking for when they score your proposal. And every rubric begins with what we call comprehensive review. This means your proposal must clearly align with Northeast SARE priorities. So the comprehensive review allows reviewers to look for these like 3 core elements throughout your proposal, which is relevance, innovation, and impact through the like legislation priorities as the 3 questions in the comprehensive review. So these are defined there, but beyond that, the specific questions vary by grant program. They are organized by topic in both the CFP and the rubric. And again, the rubric is your best friend. It is literally what reviewers use to score your proposal. They are using the same rubric that we provide to you all. So that information is transparent on both sides. You know exactly what the difference is between your scores and how reviewers are scoring proposals. And then the process itself starts with, initially starts with the review panels. And these are independent panels made up of farmers, researchers, nonprofit staff, ag service providers, just other folks in the farming and food community. And they score each proposal using that rubric. These reviews are single blind, and every question plus the overall proposal gets scored on the clear criteria outlined in the rubric. Then proposals that are top ranked move on to our oversight panel, and their job is to make sure that the proposals meet the program requirements, that they reflect organizational priorities, and they comply with our eligibility rules. And then finally, the oversight panel then recommends a slate of proposals for funding, and that slate goes to the Northeast SARE Administrative Council, who makes the final call for funding decisions. And each program has an individual rubric, which again is in Appendix D. And here's a little example of the rubric to also show you that we changed from a 5 to a 10-point scale. So this is the generic 10-point scale that you'll see through all rubrics. Now, eligibility. The list of who can apply and who can't, or who can apply, has not changed, but we updated the language here to make it crystal clear that farms, farmers, farm employees, farming community groups are absolutely eligible. So who can apply? Extension, colleges, universities, for-profit businesses. This includes consultants and farm businesses. Municipalities, nonprofits, tribal governments, state and federal departments, and applicants and host organizations can be located outside the Northeast region as long as the project activities and the audience served primarily are within the Northeast region. And then finally, with the launch of the Farming Community Grant last year, we also introduced our Technical Assistance Program, which we refer to as TA. TA is available only for applicants of the Farming Community Grant Program. And if you have questions about that, join the Farming Community Grant breakout room in just a few minutes, or you can reach out to that grant administrator's email, which we'll provide at the end of this presentation for more information. And all of our large grant programs share some common features, so we're going to go through those quickly, and we're going to be wrapping up here shortly. So first, Northeast SARE values all ways of knowings and accepts a wide variety of information, the sources of information that could range from academic research to personal experience, community voices, really just any knowledge sources. Research can take many forms. This could be in the field, lab, social science, you name it. And we really uplift that, community voices, personal experiences are ways of knowing. Most projects will run for 3 years, except Farming Community, which is limited to 1 or 2 years. Every large grant requires an advisory committee, and we encourage authentic engagement with those members. Funding requests should match your project's scope, duration, and outreach plans. So typical award ranges are listed in the CFP for each program, but there is no funding cap on the grant programs. And measurable benefits can be environmental, financial, social. Your work should really follow standard protocols for research using IRB or IACUC when relevant, and mixed method approaches are welcome. Finally, all projects require annual progress reports and a final report at the end of your project. Now to look at how the programs differ. Each program serves a different audience and funds different types of work, but there is a little bit of overlap. So it's not uncommon to, maybe be choosing between one or two programs, or you could kind of pivot into one program or the other. So R&E, research and education, that must include a robust farmer education program that leads to measurable on-farm changes. Research can be included, but education is the core. Professional development funds education as well, but this is for service providers who work with farmers. The goal is for those providers to apply what they learn in the work with their farmers. And these two programs, R&E and PDP, require a performance target. So think of this as the outcome you expect if everything goes according to plan. And then there's novel approaches, which focuses on proof of concept research, testing new practices that have a strong potential for farmer adoption. And then farming community, our newest program, which launched last year. This is a community-focused program that really centers around farmer leadership. We had over 150 submissions for this program last year, and only 14 were funded. So it is competitive, but don't let that discourage you. We talked through the competitiveness of each proposal and each CFP, and the farming community did receive an increase in funding allocation for this year. So funding starts at $30,000 for any of the proposals you might be applying to. And while there is no cap for the programs, typical ranges are listed in the CFP. So you'll see what the average person might be requesting for in their proposal. And all of our programs fund social science-based projects and various forms of research or education. It's not uncommon that your project concept could be used to apply to more than one grant program. So even if your idea fits in more than one program, make sure that you are tailoring your proposal to the specific program that you are applying to. It's just like tailoring a resume to a job. It might be broad and could apply to lots of jobs, but if you're speaking to one program, make sure you're speaking to that program. And based on the funding available, the increase in proposal submissions, and the competitiveness of our programs, it's just been really increasing in recent years. This data is from previous year submissions, and the farming community grant only has 1 year of data, so the numbers could be skewed a little bit in that way. But these are also based on pre-proposal and an invite process. So I would just say that the first 3 programs are a little more competitive than it may appear, but not as competitive as farming community. And just this can change. As you all know, the funding climate has changed quite a bit in the past 18 months or so. So once you've decided to apply, here's what you're going to do next. First, you're going to make sure that you have an account on projects.sare.org. The person who starts the proposal in the system will automatically be listed as the applicant, but you can add other team members as editors so that they can help with the submission. All proposals must be submitted through our online system, and late applications will not be accepted. There are no exceptions here. So that 5 p.m. Eastern deadline is very strict. It actually won't let you submit after 5 p.m. So we strongly recommend trying to submit well before in case you run into any technical issues. And you can submit and unsubmit the proposal throughout that window. So until 5 p.m., you can unsubmit, make any changes. You just need to make sure that you resubmit. If it is not resubmitted, it is not submitted. So you're kind of like pulling it on and off our desk when you unsubmit. So make sure that it is submitted by 5 p.m. and just give yourself some breathing room and submit early the best that you can so that we can help you if you run into any issues. And to support and start your proposal writing process, my personal suggestion is to take the Word version of the call for proposal and begin drafting answers to the part 5, which is where the proposal questions and instructions begin. And some other kind of like top level tips are just, starting early, give yourself time to review the CFP, draft your proposal, gather the required documents. Use the rubric as a reference. It's really your roadmap. So make sure that your proposal aligns with every criterion. And aim to submit at least a day before the deadline to avoid last minute stress or technical issues. And call in friends and colleagues to help proofread your proposal to ensure it's clear to the average reader. Never underestimate the power of proofreading, and be sure that you build in time to do so. And finally, don't overlook your budget. Preparing and submitting a clear and accurate budget is a critical part of your proposal. So we will talk through that next. So you're going to download the official budget template from the CFP appendix or from our website. This is the only format of budgets that we accept. The budget must be completed in Excel and uploaded as a part of your proposal. PDFs or images will not be accepted and will not work. You can download and work on the budget in Google Sheets as another tool or program that uses Excel spreadsheet type things. So just reach out if you need any assistance. When you are filling it out, you are only going to enter information in the white cells. Other cells are colored to indicate that they are locked and to protect formulas. You will provide clear, specific line items and justifications with each expense. We ask that you avoid vague language like miscellaneous. And at the bottom of the sheet, you will select your indirect rate by marking an X in the appropriate box. In general, the template look has changed. We've done our best to really simplify and align the budget to our updated Appendix C. Appendix C is what describes the budget categories and gives really good examples of what you might classify into which budget category. And we have included at the bottom of the worksheet a tab called Instructions, which is going to walk you through. It's actually what you see right here in the things that I've just verbally shared with you. And the template is consolidated, so you no longer need a separate tab for every year of your project. You can do it all in one sheet as one budget. The guidance on the categories and examples are in Appendix C. And if you are including subawards in your project's proposal, just remember that each subawardee needs their own budget too. And just like your proposal questions, review your budget carefully before uploading. Make sure that your totals match what you enter in the online system and that it aligns. So grant administrators are available to answer questions beyond today's Q&A session, so do not hesitate to reach out. As we get closer to due dates, keep in mind that grant admins will see an increase in volumes of inquiries, and this could delay their ability to respond as quickly as we might be able to now. So it's best that you reach out sooner than later if you have questions. And as a reminder of the grant administrators for each program and what room you might want to go to, I'm Caitlin, manage the research for novel approaches. Heather manages the research into education or R&E. Katie is going to manage the professional development room today. And then Nevin is going to manage the farming community room today. And before we break away, we have a few minutes that we can talk through and answer any questions about Northeast SARE or the programs more broadly to help you figure out where you might need to go.
I have a question about the definition of a farm. On the document that was put in the link, it says that any place which $1,000 or more of agricultural products were produced. And it does include, places in like urban areas, but what if you're a farm that donates your produce? Do you no longer count?
As long as you produced agricultural products that would be valued at least $1,000, it counts.
Thank you.
No problem. And I'm going to interrupt briefly just to say, Caitlin, there is a novel approaches specific question in the chat that I'll read aloud for you to answer. Does the novel approaches require a project to have already been initiated, or are trials that have not been initiated also eligible?
Trials that have not been initiated are eligible. The proof of concept is really the definition you want to be looking at here, because oftentimes there are trials in a different area or region or a different soil that you might be trying in a different soil or area and region. So it's okay if they haven't been initiated. New research to build on other research is okay.
I have a question. We newly incorporated this. Oh, sorry. We newly incorporated this year, and so I wanted to find out. We've been around for the past 5 years as a fiscally sponsored project, and so I wanted to find out if we're still eligible to apply for the community farming grant.
Great. Yes, whether or not you want to apply as somebody who has like a fiscal sponsor will just change who your host organization is. But as long as you meet the farming requirement and the like the eligibility there, you can apply even if you are just now getting started as an official NGO.
So meeting the $1,000, at least $1,000 in food production. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So I have a question. My name is Stephen Nieder. I'm owner operator of the Valley Butcher, which deals directly with farmers and uh, food insecure areas and donates venison to Mercer Street Friends and other distribution centers to feed people that are in need. I it's I know it's a shot in the dark, but this business has been in operation since 2022 and donated um, a lot of like probably well thousands of pounds of venison and several deer and incentivizes the management of whitetail populations, which works directly with farmers. I've worked directly with the Department of Agriculture as well as Farm Bureau, along with New Jersey Fish and Game and Wildlife, to incentivize the culling of the deer herd. So I'm not necessarily a farmer, but I wasn't sure if there's a way that I could get funding to help farmers through this grant, being that I'm working directly with their community, with the community of farmers. Also a farmer myself with the fourth generation farming family. The the business is on a farm as well, but I know there's like a nuance there because I'm not necessarily farming, but I'm directly impacting the farming community as well as distributing food to people that are in need. So it seems like it, am I even eligible for anything in this case?
You can be. I would say farming community might be a good room for you to hop in first and go from there. And we will also be having one more Q&A a week from today on the 14th. So you all are welcome to come back again for that. Just note that you do need to register separately to that event, even though you are here and registered for it today on the 7th. We are getting into a little bit more specific of questions. I think maybe let's launch our breakout rooms and then Vander's going to stay back and help people navigate to the rooms. And if you feel like you're not in the right room, hop to another one. And again, our contact information, you can reach out to any of the grant administrators and they can help you. Or maybe we'll see you next week as well.